Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Islami wa kafa biha ni'mah. All praise and gratitude be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on his blessing of Islam, which suffices as a blessing. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. So I'd like to welcome you on the 22nd talk. We are at the 11th para and we are doing Surah Yunus. Yesterday we had done ayat number 25, and that's where I will begin inshallah this evening and then complete the surah. What you would hear about in this, in the next about 45 minutes will be all about faith building. So it's building faith, it's building the Aqidah. We talk of Tawheed, and we're also looking at a very interesting ayat which Quran reminds us that how blessed we are that we have the Quran, and this is something that we really need to celebrate. So let's begin with ayat 25 to be the first ayat that we will do. Wallahu yad'u ila daris salam wa yahdi man yasha'u ila siratim mustaqim. And Allah invites to the home of peace and guides whom He wills to a straight path. So this is a special invitation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to be ignored, because this is an invitation to a place which Allah says in this ayah over here. This is Darus Salam, or the home of peace, the ultimate peace, and that is paradise, because that's where only peace is going to be. And fortunate are those people to whom this invitation is being extended, and more fortunate are those people who would really accept this invitation and then work to reach to this place. And who are those? Those are people clearly who will just clear the test and don't get sidetracked in this world. For those who have done good is the best, which means the best reward, and more. No darkness will cover their faces, nor humiliation. Those are the companions of paradise, and they will abide in it eternally. So this ayat reminds that there's got a lot of good reward for them, and it says and more. So what is this more? Well, more is really the vision of Allah, the didar of Allah, the seeing of Allah. That's going to be the high point of paradise. But they who have earned evil deeds, the recompense of an evil deed is an equivalent, and humiliation will cover them. They will have none to protect them from Allah. It will be as if their faces are covered with a portion of dark nights. Those are the companions of fire, and they will abide in it eternally. So you see the opposite side of first was people of paradise, and then this is the other side of it, people whose faces will be covered dark like the darkness of a night, abject misery, abject embarrassment, insult and fear that they will see on that day. And the day we will gather them all together, then we will say to those who associated others with Allah, remain in your place, you and your partners. Then we will separate them, and their partners will say, it was not us that you worshipped. Sufficient is Allah as a witness between us and you, that we were unaware of your worship. So these people, maybe pious people, these are people like prophets and pious and devoted individuals who were made associate by people without them asking them to be made associate. They will suddenly fear. They will suddenly fear that they might actually get blamed for the shirk that was done by their followers. So they will immediately clarify the position in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they were completely unaware of this, that they were being worshipped, so that they don't get a blame for it. There on that day, every soul will know what it has sent before, and they will be returned to Allah, the real master, and lost from them is whatever they used to invent. So this is what we need to really prepare for now. Are we really prepared to return to what Quran says, to their real master, Allah, as a master and a servant, as an obedient servant, following the truth to the best of our ability and the best of our capacity and capability, and without actually having any false beliefs and then having sinful deeds. Say, who gives you sustenance from the heavens and the earth, or who has the power over hearing and sight, and who brings the living out of the dead and bring the dead out of the living, and who regulates the affairs? They will say, Allah. So say, then will you not fear? People have believed in a creator, in that sense. Even the polytheists, they believe in a creator, but not in the sense of an owner. nor there is a strong belief that there will be an accountability. So people think that all the blessings that have been given to them in this life, they are kind of a free lunch, and no one will really hold them accountable for what they have been given. Such is Allah, your real sustainer, and what is left after truth except error. So how are you being turned away? So Allah creates and governs all these things. We are aware of that, and this is the ultimate reality. I mean, the ultimate reality behind everything existing is only Allah. Thus, the word of your Rabb proves true against those who rebelled, that they do not believe. Say, is there anyone among your partner who can begin creation and then repeat it? Say Allah begins creation and then repeats it. Then how are you deluded? So those people who do not fear Allah, actually they are being deluded away. And it's interesting that people can turn to their deities for fulfillment of their needs, or from protection of calamities, or asking them for favors. But they never speak to their deities for guidance. They never ask their deities, show us morality, show us justice. Say of your partners, is there any who guides to the truth? Say Allah guides to the truth. So is he who guides to the truth more worthy to be followed, or he who himself cannot find the way unless he is guided? Then what is the matter with you? How do you judge? So these are the series of questions which Quran throws at people to refute shirk, to establish tawheed. The greatest need for a man is to know the right way, to lead a good and a wholesome life and a successful life, and then have a successful hereafter. And most of them only follow guesses. Indeed, assumptions can by no means take place of the truth. Indeed, Allah is well aware of what they do. So when we know that this is a hukum of Quran, we know that this is a commandment of Quran, but then people say, well, I think, this is my view. We are not really worshipping Allah. Then we are actually worshipping our own thoughts. We are worshipping our own wisdom. So as a Muslim, it is really implied for us that we surrender our akal, our intelligence, our thinking in front of Allah. But majority of people, as this ayat says in this world, they follow some kind of a conjecture or some kind of an assumption. It is not possible for this Quran to be produced by other than Allah, but it is a certification of that which had been, that which is before it, and a clear explanation of the book, about which there is no doubt in it, from the Lords of the world. So deen of fitrat, really confirming to all the previous books that have been sent. This is such a deen that it confirms all the previous book, and Islam is really a continuation of previous religion. It's not a real new religion that it brings in some new sets of laws, but it's actually just continuing the previous laws that were there. And the wisdom inherently in Quran actually precludes any possibility of having been composed by a human being. The same external truth conveyed to man that has, in long succession of prophets, they have just the same truth is being conveyed again and again and again. Stay clear of shirk and have good akhlaq, have good manners. Or do they say he forged it? Say, bring forth a surat like it and call upon your assistance whoever you can besides Allah if you are truthful. Now this challenge of forging an ayah or forging a surah, this comes in 5 times in Quran. And man, when you think about it and we look at the laws that are coming to us, and we've gone through nearly 1/3 of Quran, you will see that the laws that have been stated in this book, they are such balanced laws. They are just, they are equitable. How the rights and responsibilities are divided. The Quran teaches us nothing but except to be good human beings. How Quran is against injustice, against exploitation. Rather, they have denied that whose knowledge they cannot comprehend, for they have not yet seen its prophecies being fulfilled. Thus did those before them deny, and see then what was the end of the unjust. And of them is he who does believe in it, and of them is he who does not believe in it. And your Lord is most knowing of those who sow corruption. So what are the basis for denying the Quran and being skeptical? Well, science is in line with the teachings of Quran. I'm not saying Quran is in line, but I'm saying science is in line with the teaching of Quran. You know, with the human nature and his likes and dislikes, when you think about them, all the systems that we see in this world, they have led to some exploitation of the weaker group, except for the Islamic system, whether it is social or it is financial or it is moral. Allah is the creator of all of us. He gives us systems, He gives us law, which are actually for our well-being. Because He is the creator, He knows what are the best laws for us. But the problem with people is that they want to cherry pick the laws. They want to only take those laws and regulations which suit their own desires, or because they want to take more than their own share. They want to do zulm, and that's the reason why they disregard the teaching of the Quran. And if they deny you, then say, for me are my deeds and for you are your deeds. You are dissociated from what I do, and I am dissociated from what you do. So Prophet being instructed over here not to enter into this useless discussion, everyone will bear consequences of their deeds, but we just need to convey this in the best possible way. And among them are those who listen to you. But can you cause the deaf to hear, although they will not use reason? When people are deaf to the message, they just hear it, but they pay no attention to it. It's like animals also, you know, cattle also hear, but it doesn't change their behavior. They do not change their behavior, you know, from what they are hearing, because of what they are hearing. So even with the best teacher, and a best teacher like our Prophet ﷺ, if people close their ear, they will really not get the message at all. And among them are those who look at you, but can you guide the blind, although they will not attempt to see? So like animals see, but they cannot perceive anything beyond what appears on the surface. Even if they are being led to a slaughterhouse, an animal doesn't know. He is looking at it, but he doesn't know where he is going. And that's what Quran says, that you must think about what's going on. And that's what makes you different from animals. Indeed, Allah does not do injustice to mankind, but people are unjust to themselves. So all guidance is there to save man from the fire. And on the day when we will gather them, and it will be as if they had not remained in the world but an hour of a day, and they will recognize each other. Those will be lost who denied the meeting of Allah and were not guided. Now think about life. You know how much of our life has passed through, and I really remember when I was young, and how years have just swiftly and quietly passed away, already gone. It seems like yesterday. So if we can truly comprehend the short duration of this life, which we are experiencing, all of us experience how short our life is. You know, if we can actually comprehend this, all that anger and resentment inside people against these laws of Allah and against the Sharia, they will just melt away, they will just go away. And whether we show you some of what we promised them, or we cause you to die, in any case, to us is your return. Then Allah is a witness concerning what they are doing. And for every nation was a messenger. So when their messengers came, the matter was decided between them with justice, and they were not wrong. Now to whom the message has reached, they will be the ummah of the Prophet. That's the definition. If the message has reached, then they will be the ummah of the Prophet. And this is the primary reason for sending so many messengers, so that the message has been conveyed to entire mankind. And they say, when is the fulfillment of this promise if you are truthful? Now the way this question is being asked is very interesting, because it reveals the intentions of the person who is asking this question. The way we ask a question, it determines why we are asking the question. Is it in a state of denial? Are we trying to ridicule? Are we trying to criticize? Or is it a genuine concern, or is it to gain knowledge? We need to first check our intentions, because our questions will be phrased in such a manner. Now only those people who are interested in reaching to their destination will stop on a road and ask, am I on the right path? But someone who has no intention of reaching anywhere, why would he be concerned? You know, you used to read this story when we were small, Alice in Wonderland, and there used to be a saying over there, and it reminds me of that. You know, if you don't know where you are going, you will never be lost. And that's exactly over here. We need to see where we are going, and then we can really determine whether we are lost or we are not lost. Say, I possess no power to harm or benefit myself except what Allah wills. For every nation is a specified term. When their term has come, then they will not remain behind an hour, nor will they advance it. So this specified term for people is there for each individual, maybe 80 years, 90 years, 100 years, no more than 100, 110 years. For nations, it is there for a few centuries, right? But don't be deluded by mere progress of transgressing nations, because once their hour comes in, it's a very small term that they spend over here. Say, have you considered if the punishment should come to you by the night or by the day? What is there that the guilty should hasten on? So now Allah is asking a question to people. Now the implied over here is that, have you really made any preparation for this day, or are you just asking a question when this day is going to come? When this day is going to come is only known to Allah. On us is important that we make preparation, that we are ready when this day arrives. It is only when it has befallen that you will believe in it, while until now it was your wish to bring it on. Then it will be said to those who wronged, taste the enduring punishment. You are being recompensed for what you have earned. And they ask you, is it true? Say, yes, by my Lord, indeed it is true, and you cannot frustrate it. If every soul that wronged itself had everything on the earth, it would offer it as a ransom, and they would feel remorse when they see the punishment. The decision with them will be with justice, and they will not be wrong. Listen, to Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and in the earth, and note well that surely Allah's promise is true, but most of them do not know. What Quran is really saying is, look, this is not a poetry, this is not a scary story. Majority of people are heedless because Shaitan puts doubts in minds of people, in hearts of people, about the truth that Quran is actually conveying to us. He gives life and causes death, and to Him you will return. So all that exists goes back to Him, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who created, and then He causes everything to die. When we are all sure that ultimately we will return to Him, all of us are sure that we will return, we need to give priority to what the likes and dislikes of Allah are. That's where what our job is. We need to give up this priority in our life. Ya ayyuhan nasu qad ja'atkum mau'izatan min rabbikum wa shifaa'un lima fis sudur wa hudan wa rahmatul lil mu'minin. O mankind, there has come to you counseling from your Lord and a healing for what is in the hearts, and a guidance and a mercy for the believers. So this book is a book of advice. This is a book of counsel. It advises, it heals the heart. It gives peace to the hearts by resolving the personal confusions that we have, the uncertainties of life. And people who take benefit and guidance from this is such a mercy for the believers, because it encourages brotherhood, it encourages morality, it encourages just and sound economic system. It gives you answers for many questions for which man has been searching for the meaning for a very long time. Since man existed, he has been searching meaning for these answers. Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is the purpose of this life? And Quran answers these questions. قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. Say, in the bounty of Allah and His mercy, in that let them rejoice. It is better than what they accumulate. So these verses, the Quran that we have, if we are reading this Quran, if we are understanding this Quran, if we have regard of this book in our hearts, these revelations should be treasured. They must be celebrated. This is a time of rejoicing. This is not a book which is cumbersome. This is not a book which will actually burden us. Say, have you considered the provisions Allah has sent down upon you, of which you have made some lawful and some unlawful? Say, has Allah permitted you to do so, or do you invent lies about Allah? And what will be the assumptions of those who invent falsehood about Allah and the day of resurrection? Indeed, Allah is bountiful towards mankind, but most of them are ungrateful. And you are not engaged in any matter or recite any of the Quran, nor do any deed except that we are a witness over you when you are engrossed in it. Nor is hidden from your Rabb equivalent to a particle in the earth or in the heavens, or anything smaller than that or greater than that, but it is in a clear book. This ayat is an ayat of such consolation. It was a consolation for the Prophet ﷺ, for the companions, for all of us. At that time, 10 years of struggle. When this ayat was revealed, Prophet had been struggling for nearly 10 years. Constant opposition, stiff resistance, not much apparent success to show. Natural reaction of people is, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this if no change is coming on? And Shaitan then weakens the resolves of people. He says, with all your effort, nothing has changed. Don't waste your time. This is hopeless. And now comes this ayat of comfort, of really strengthening the believers, of reinforcing of their faith. And asking them these questions, on whose behalf are you doing this? Whose message are you conveying? And telling them, remember, He is watching you. You are not alone. You are not at the mercy of your enemy. Allah is there. He is watching you. So we need to check our intentions. We need to protect our intentions from whom are we really expecting this reward? From people, in the way that they will accept what we are saying, that they would regard that we have passed the message, or from Allah? In which case, if we are doing it for the acceptance of Allah, then we really need to be worried about only one thing. And we need to be worried about the fact that we are conveying the true and untainted message. And then be very firm, this must be very firm in our hearts, that everything is in His knowledge. It is written into our record. Our job is to protect and sow the seed. Don't worry about how this tree is going to grow, when it's going to yield its fruit, who is going to benefit from its fruit, will anyone benefit or not benefit? It doesn't really make any difference. For us, our role is to sow the good seed. And that's the position of any good deeds. Listen, surely the friends of Allah shall have no fear, nor they shall grieve. How do we really reach to this status, waliullah, the word that's used over here, to be friends of Allah? First, we need to have deep respect and deep regard for this deen. That's something that we must think about. And being a helper and a guardian and a protector of this deen, that's how we will become waliullah. That's how we will become friends of Allah. Allah personally doesn't need our friendship, but He's really looking at our support. He's looking at our intention for the cause of this deen. Those who believe and guard against evil, for them are good tidings in the worldly life and in the hereafter, and the word of Allah shall never change, and that's a supreme triumph. And let not their speech grieve you. Indeed, all honor belongs to Allah. He is the hearing and the knowing. So this waliullah, the friends of Allah, they are human beings. They are people whose heart is like a heart of anyone. They don't have a heart of stone, that nothing will affect them. And hence, the words of other people does grieve them. So Quran says, don't let the words grieve you. It's a consolation to these people. Give yourself permission to be a human being. Things will hurt you. You will feel upset. That's part of being a human being. Only when someone has no feeling, only then such people have no pain or no relief. Except that pain is part of life. This is part of our life. And then this ayat says, all honor belongs to Allah, all izzat belongs to Allah. It is not a matter of your ego if people are not accepting you. If people are rejecting you, this is not a matter of your self-worth. Your ego and self-worth should not be hurt, which, sometimes this is what forces people to get disheartened and to abandon the good things that they are doing, because they feel, well, I'm getting no response from people. Listen, to Allah belongs all that is in the heavens and on the earth. And those who invoke other gods besides Allah follow nothing but idle fancies, and they only guess. So guidance and misguidance, the main reason over here Quran uses the word zan, and zan means a guess. Be it a philosopher, be it a scientist, a hermit, a yogi, they all invariably they suffer from a prejudice. Whatever they say about the unseen is just a conjecture, it's just a guess. It's only through the revelation that have been brought by the messengers that we can get the true reality. Rest of all of it is just guesses. It is He who has made for you the night to rest and the day for seeing. Indeed, in this are signs for those who listen. They say, Allah has taken a son, exalted is He. He is self-sufficient. To him belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth. You have no authority for this. Do you say about Allah that which you do not know? Say, indeed, those who invent falsehood about Allah will not succeed. For them is a brief enjoyment in this world, and to us is their return. Then we will make them taste the severe punishment because they used to disbelieve. So without authority, people cannot on their own will, on their own choice, makes things virtuous or sinful. That we cannot make things that this is a deed which is sinful deed, and this is a deed which is a neki, which is a good deed, or making additions or subtractions to the aqidah, to the dogma, to the code of belief. And these things are sufficient to push people into hell. Deen is not learned by trial and error, but deen is learned through what has been revealed. It is well structured through the revelations. And recite to them the story of Noah, when he said to his people, "O my people, if my staying with you and my preaching to you revelations of Allah offends you, then I have put my trust on Allah. So decide upon your course of action and call upon your associates. Then let not your course of action be unclear for you. Then carry it out upon me and do not give me respite." So now these awe-inspiring tales of tragic end of the past nations. So we are looking at this Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam. He lived maybe about 8,000 to 9,000 years BC. His nation rejected. They were punished by a great flood. And this is the first nation, the nation of Nuh, who actually committed shirk. They made idols for their pious ancestors, and maybe it was in good intention that we would remember these pious people, but then it started to they became polytheists. He preached for 950 years, and 80 people believed in him and were saved. Now, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam could neither change the system, nor was there a large-scale conversion during his time. But near Allah, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam was successful, and he will be rewarded with the best in the hereafter. Now, what was the source of Hazrat Nuh's confidence? Tawakkul on what he's saying. And he said, I put my trust on Allah. He has no army. He has no followers. But he says, don't give me respite. He is so sure of his success because of his trust on Allah. Because once we put our trust on Allah, that gives rise to this extraordinary faith. And if you turn away, then I do not ask any reward from you. My reward is only from Allah, and I have been commanded to be of those who submit. Prophets have no vested interest, and success of a prophet is really not dependent on whether people agree or don't agree. Two basic responsibilities that every prophet has, and then later on for anyone who's conveying this message, two responsibilities. First, deliver complete and untainted message. And number two is yourself first surrender to the will of Allah. Now, rewards could be monetary, or they could be fame, or they could be sort of praise, or they could be, people may be worried about number of quantity of people who are listening or accepting them, the likes that they are getting, but these are all forms of reward. But anyone who is truly delivering this message shouldn't really worry about the number. This is not a number game. Two basic requirements: unadulterated message and himself surrender to Allah. And they rejected him. So we saved him and those with him in the ark and made them successful. And we drowned those who denied our signs. Then see how was the end of those who were warned. Then after him we sent messengers to their people, and they came to them with clear proof. But they would not believe in that which they had denied before. Thus we seal the hearts of the transgressors. So common factor, when people reject the first time, and then they insist on it, and then they become stubborn, and then they are not ready to admit their mistake, not even willing to reconsider, knowing that this is the truth. It's just being stubborn. Then we sent after them Moses and Harun to Pharaoh and his chiefs with clear signs, but they behaved arrogantly, for they were wicked people. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was sent around 1350 BC to Pharaoh, who heard the message, but he refused to accept. So rejecting after hearing is far more dangerous. And the ways of rejection may differ, but the consequences are the same. So when the truth came to them from us, they said, indeed, this is a clear magic. Moses said,
do you say this about the truth after it has come to you? It is magic. But magicians will not succeed. They said, have you come to us to turn us away from that which we found our fathers, or that you too may reign over the land, and we are not believers in you? Even if the prophets had the best intention, yet people will doubt. So sometimes people just doubt the intentions of people. And Pharaoh said, bring me every skilled magician. So when the magicians came, Moses said to them, cast down whatever you have to cast down. And when they threw, Moses said, what you have brought about is only magic. Indeed, Allah will expose its worthlessness. Indeed, Allah does not make prosper the works of those who do evil. And Allah will vindicate the truth by His word, no matter how much the criminals dislike it. But no one believed in Moses except some youths among his people on account of fear of Pharaoh and his chief, lest they would persecute them. And indeed, Pharaoh was haughty in the land, and indeed he was a transgressor. Now this ayat begins with say, but no one believed in Moses. Not referring to believing in Moses as a messenger, but in the sense of following him. So the Israelites, the Bani Israel, had been following messengers for a long time, for generations, and they regarded Hazrat Musa as a messenger. But because of many years in slavery, had made them actually faint-hearted people. They were weak. They had very weak resolve. They were cowards. Courage was missing in the older generation. And as a result, it was some youth who came forward to his support. Now, youth historically have been much more receptive to change. They have very little to lose, and they are much more receptive, and they have a lot more courage than the older generation. As we see also in Islam, the early converts were all young people. And Moses said, O my people, if you believe in Allah, then put your trust upon Him if you surrender to Allah. Now, the people of Bani Israel were not mushriks. So here Hazrat Musa alayhi salam says, O my people, if you believe in Allah. But what Musa alayhi salam wants them to be is firm in faith, that move from the state of just being a Muslim, just in Islam, to the state of Iman. And that comes in, how do we move from this state of Islam to Iman? This comes in after putting our full trust on Allah, on our tawakkul on Allah. Don't fear people, fear Allah. So they said, upon Allah do we put our trust, O our Rabb, do not make us an object of trial for the wrongdoing people, and deliver us by your mercy from the disbelieving people. And we inspired Moses and his brothers, settle your people in Egypt, settle your people in Egypt in houses, and make your houses qibla, and establish prayers and give good tidings to the believers. Now this ayat shows how important it is. They are living in a land where they are being persecuted. Certainly they are not allowed to have places of worship. So Moses tells them, in Egypt, make your houses as the qibla and establish prayer. This is the importance of a congregational prayer, of a prayer in Jamaat. If there is no masjid, then say Jamaat at your home, but do a Jamaat. And Moses said, O our Lord, indeed you have given Pharaoh and his chiefs splendor and wealth in the worldly life. Our Lord, as a result, they have led people astray from your way. O our Lord, destroy their wealth and harden their hearts, so that they do not believe until they see the painful punishment. He said, the prayers of both of you have been answered, so remain on the right course and do not follow the way of those who are ignorant. And we took the children of Israel across the sea, and Pharaoh and his soldiers pursued them in tyranny and hostility until when drowning overtook him, he said, which means Pharaoh said, I believe that there is no God except that in which the children of Israel believe, and I am of those who submit. Now, and before this, you were disobedient and rebellious. So when the sign of deaths appear, when the sign of punishments appear, then the book is closed. The acceptance of faith is not acceptable. The door of Tawbah is completely closed, as it was for the Pharaoh. We shall preserve your body today, that you may be a lesson for those who come after you. And indeed, many among the people are heedless of our sign. Now, this ayat was revealed in around 620 AH. And the body of Pharaoh was discovered in 1898. And in 1995, the French scientist Maurice Bucaille, he performed this endoscopy, and he concluded that the death of this mummy, which is now in Egypt, he concluded that the death was due to drowning. And we settled the children of Israel in a good abode and provided them with good things, and they did not differ until after knowledge had come to them. Indeed, your Lord will judge between them on the day of resurrection concerning that which they used to differ. So, Bani Israel, the children of Israel, got the best land, the land of the Prophet and the land of Palestine. So if you are in doubt about what we send down to you, then ask those who have been reading the scripture before you. The truth has certainly come to you from your Lord, so never be among the doubters. So this address is to our Prophet ﷺ, and it's really directed to entire mankind, that people who doubt the authority of Quran, they shouldn't, because there is nothing strange in this book. Even previous prophets and messengers have been given the books of like it. And never be of those who deny the signs of Allah, or you will be among the losers. So ultimate losers are those, not those who do not have wealth. It is those who do not have Iman. They are the ultimate losers. Despite the fact that they may have lots of worldly wealth, lots of worldly power, they may be the king of Rome, they may be the king of Persia, but if they don't have the wealth of Iman, then these are the people who will be the ultimate losers. Indeed, those upon whom the word of your Lord has been proved true, they will not believe. So wealth and treasures people get in this world, this is our taqdeer. People get it just because this is our destiny. But guidance is only for those people who sincerely ask for guidance and sincerely turn themselves towards guidance. Even if every sign should come to them until they see the painful punishment, then why has there not been a single community that believed, so its faith benefited it, except the people of Yunus? When they believed, we removed from them the afflictions of the shame of this world and made them prosper for a time. So this is a story of Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam, and this is mentioned, this whole surah is mentioned after Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam. He was a messenger who was sent to a town of Nineveh, and the people over there initially didn't accept the message, but then when they saw the signs of punishment, they accepted the message, they asked for forgiveness, just as the sign of punishments were beginning to appear, and as a result, evidently they were saved. And had your Lord willed, those on the earth would have believed, all of them entirely. Then would you compel the people in order that they become believers? Which means you cannot really compel people to become believers. And it is not for a soul to believe except by the permission of Allah. And He will cast filth of disbelief upon those who will not use reason. Say, observe what is in the heavens and in the earth, but signs or warning will be of no avail to those who do not believe. Nature is full of all signs. For those people who want to reflect on the phenomena around us, the glories of our Creator, the water cycle, the life cycle, the plants around us, the history of transgressing people who were punished, but only those who fear Allah, they will pay attention to these signs. Are they waiting for the like days of those who passed away before them? Say then, wait. Indeed, I am waiting with you. Then we saved our messengers and those who had believed. Similar, it is an obligation upon us that we shall save the believers. Say, O people, if you are in doubt about my religion, then know that I do not worship those whom you worship besides Allah. But I worship Allah who causes you to die, and I have been commanded to be of the believers. An ayat of consolation again for all Muslims in time of distress, in times of difficulty. They should have no compromise with unbelief. I think if you look at Islam is a very tolerant religion. There is no forced conversion in Islam. Islam allows other religions to worship whatever they want to worship, but it's very rigid about its own boundaries. It has this uncompromising monotheism. Messages don't sit inside Darul Islam, the abode of peace, and then instigate changes yourself, trying to extend the boundaries of Darul Islam. These boundaries are well defined. And dedicate yourself to the deen in uprightness, and never be of those who associate with Allah. So 3 things that we need to be careful of: the love, the loyalty, and the obedience. If any one of this is above the law, is above Allah, then it is going to lead on to shirk. And do not call besides Allah that which will neither benefit you nor harm you. For if you did, then indeed you will be of the wrongdoers. And if Allah should inflict you with adversity, there is no remover of it except He. And if He intends for you good, then there is no one who can withhold His bounty. He showers it upon whom He pleases of His servant, and He is the forgiving and merciful. So we may have all the resources, but don't put your trust on them. Put your trust only on Allah. We have illnesses, use medicine. We must use medicine, but it is not medicine which has the ability to either do harm or good to us. The same medicine will save life and cure people, and the same medicine can cause tremendous allergic reaction in other people. Now, this actually, belief in this saves us from this post resentment. When things don't go according to our wishes, according to our plan, then you see this resentment coming in people, the anger, the frustration. I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that. Never think like that. Whatever you wish, this was the outcome that Allah wanted, and that outcome took place. People can do what they want to do, but outcome of that is only dependent upon what Allah wants that outcome to be. Say, O mankind, the truth has come to you from your Lord, so whoever follows the right path follows it for his own good, and whoever goes astray only goes astray at his own peril. I am not a custodian over you. This ayat really sums up the entire Surah Yunus. It's your choice. Follow the right path if that's good for you. If you want to go astray, you go astray at your own peril. It is at the end of the day, it's your funeral. So we do the last ayat for this evening. وَاتَّبِعْ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ وَاصْبِرْ حَتَّى يَحْكُمَ اللَّهُ وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الْحَاكِمِينَ, and follow what is revealed to you, and be patient until Allah gives judgment, and He is the best of the judges.
So what this ayat says, وَاتَّبِعْ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ. Follow what has been revealed to you. It's all about following. It's all about following. So this is an address to all Muslims, that no matter what the trend may be there in the society, no matter what the fashion experts may be saying, follow this book, be steadfast with Quran, and do not deviate from it. So barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quran al-azim wa nafana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim.